Hello everyone, welcome to the third video of the series. Now that you learned how to adjust the pinch and how to address 10 fingers and each key of the piano, we are almost ready to start playing the piano. There's one more important thing you have to learn before you start playing the piano, which is your finger shape and how to actually play the keys. This is one of the most important but the most difficult basics of the piano to consistently enforce. The concept itself is pretty simple, but there are so many factors while playing the piano that makes us fail to keep it in mind. Fortunately, I don't have any student who keeps forgetting finger numbers or key names once learned or reviewed several times. But from beginners learning how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb to advanced students who are learning Chopin etudes, most of technical issues result from breaking these finger shape rules. I know you are eager to start playing the piano, but these foundations are very important, and the longer you play with bad technique, the harder it gets to fix it later. That's why I teach these basics in the very first lesson and do not move on until the students can perform the exercise I'm going to introduce in this video. If you haven't watched my first two videos, I strongly recommend doing that first, because it doesn't make sense to practice good technique while sitting at the wrong position or to try these exercises without knowing the key names. If you haven't subscribed, turn on notification and hit the like button. I strongly recommend doing that too, because that's how I get motivated to make these videos. If you're ready, let's start. Good finger shape looks like this. You will curve all the finger joints inward, and only fingertip will touch the key. So if I put this on the piano, it'll look like this. When you play the key, you will lower your fingertip straight down without changing the shape of your finger, like this. And when you release the key, you will relax your finger so that the key is going to push your finger up. When you play, but if your joint stretches out or turns the other way like this is called collapsing, or like this. Thumb is a little different because it's attached to your hand sideways and moves sideways. You will still keep all of your joints curved inward, and instead of the very tip of your thumb, you will use the corner of it, close to the tip of it. And maintain this curved finger shape and lower the whole finger. And relax to let it go. Because thumb and pinky are located at the end of the hands, many students try to play by twisting your hand like this. In this case, you are using the side of your thumb and not the corner or tip of your thumb. And you're twisting your hand just to play one of the fingers. You're basically changing the hand position just to accommodate one finger. This happens with your pinky too. Now all of your fingers are out of position. Let's put your right hand number 1 onto middle C. Now, if you have no idea what I just said, go back and watch the first two videos. So your right hand number 1 on middle C. And the other fingers go to adjacent keys. So in your right hand, you will have C, D, E, F, G. The first exercise my students have to practice is to play each key for 2 seconds each, one by one, from C to G, left to right, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And remember, you have to watch out not to collapse your fingers. And if you can do that without collapsing fingers or accidentally hitting other keys, then you will do backwards from right to left, G to C. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you can do all of these, you will play from left to right to left, while skipping one key. So you will not play D and F, and you will play C, 2, E, 2, G, 2, E, 2, C, 2. And we call this skipping. Now, if you can do right hand up and down and skipping without collapsing fingers or accidentally hitting other keys, then you will do that with your left hand. Now, when you use your left hand, you will put left hand 5 onto the C, right next to the middle C, 1 to the left, because you will later use middle C for your right hand. So your left hand 5 finger will go to lower C than middle C. And you will do the same up-down skipping exercise. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and skipping 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you can do left hand comfortably, right hand comfortably, then you will do left and right at the same time, both hands at the same time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and skipping 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep in mind, throughout this exercise, you will have to keep your fingers curved and move them without changing that shape. And never ever collapse your fingers like this. One of the biggest mistakes people make while learning the piano is to think that you are pushing the keys like an elevator button. Yes, piano will make sound no matter how you play, like this, or like this, or with good finger shape like this, or karate chop like this. But remember, your goal is not to play one single key or certain phrases, but to learn a skill that you can apply to any other music you would like to play in the future. So for that reason, it's very important for you to keep good technique going on all the time. Imagine your fingers are 5 legs, and your hand is body. And playing piano is like running on the keys with 5 legs. Imagine one of the legs collapse, and your whole hand will lose balance or control. And that's how we make mistakes while playing the piano. Another way to put this is to think your fingers like drumsticks. Imagine you're trying to play the drum, but the sticks are made of rubber, so it keeps flexing. When you collapse your fingers or twist your hand, that is like having rubber sticks. It keeps flexing, and you will not be able to control the exact timing of the playing. Collapsing your fingers also means that you're not using your fingertip, but you're using finger pad or side of your finger. These parts are much bigger than fingertip, and that increases your chance of hitting 2 keys by accident. There are many other reasons why you have to keep these good finger rules while playing the piano, but before I lose my audiences, I will stop here. Let's take a look at some examples. In this example, you can easily see how collapsed fingers are preventing the student from playing evenly. The student is trying to play this. But each finger is taking extra time and effort to play, and that's accumulating. As a result, the student's getting behind the metronome. For this one, the student is trying to play 5 keys evenly, like this, but it becomes uneven because 4th finger is flexing. Flexing finger will take a little longer to play and a little longer to release. Here it's only one of the 5 keys, but imagine this happening in the longer passages. This is an example of the hand pushing down the fingers, hoping that the fingers will move. But when your hand goes this low, it's really hard for your fingers to gain any control. The right way to play is without moving your hands at all. Fingers has to do all the work. So this is an example of how easy it is to forget your finger shape. So the student was playing very well with all curved fingers using fingertip up until the end where he made a mistake and quickly tried to correct it. And then at that moment, his pinky was all straight using finger pad to play. To summarize, finger shape rules are to curve all the finger joints inward and only fingertips touch the key. That's it. Like I said, it's very simple. But if you break these rules for any reason, lots of bad problems happen. All the things I covered in this series is what I consider the foundation of piano playing. When you learn how to adjust your seating position, finger numbers, key names, and how to actually play the key properly, then you are ready to move on to reading notes and gradually playing actual music and all the fun stuff after that. In my experience, students who stick to these basics make the fastest and most solid progress in the long run. You might be able to play easy songs without sitting properly or using the correct finger shape, but remember, your goal is not to play those easy songs in the method books, but to acquire skill that you can apply to any music you want to play in the future. So for that reason, it's very important to keep these basics in mind whenever you practice or perform. Rather than surviving through each assignment with bad finger shape or wrong sitting position, if you pay just a little extra attention, you will get a whole lot more from your practicing and lesson time. Eventually, as you experience enough, you may develop your own technique or style. But I strongly believe that in order to break rules, you will first have to understand the rules. Thank you for watching the entire series, and I will see you in my next video.